We back. We are back. We are back. We ain't never go nowhere. We back, y'all. Lions Den Podcast. Let's go.
I'm going on tour, and I'm going to show anybody out there that thinks for 1 second that maybe I'm second-guessing myself that I am the greatest of all time forever and ever. One surprise. One surprise. I'm back.
What's going on, y'all? It's the Lions Den Podcast. Coming at you live and direct. Let's get it popping. So much to talk about. So much to go through in reference to information. Listen, all this week, it's been lit. It's been on the scales, man. We all been talking about it. Charlottesville, Virginia. What happened is an atrocity. It's disgusting. It's despicable. That does not represent America. Not represent America. It does not represent America. So we need to get some things straight. There's some things we need to go through. There's some things we need to go over, man. And we're going to talk about them right here in the Lions Den Podcast. We right here, baby. Let's go. Listen, shout out to my co-host who can't be here today, who can't be on today. But listen, we here and we're going to get it done. We are going to get it done. Listen, we live and direct, man. Listen, it ain't a game no more. It got serious. We had DEFCON 3, man. So it's a lot we need to talk about. It's a lot we need to cover. It's a lot going on. It's a lot that we need to understand. We need to be informed by. All right? So we're going to begin to talk about this stuff. And we're going to begin to deal with it. Charlottesville, Virginia. Let's start talking about that. Y'all know what happened this weekend. Y'all know what the president said. Y'all see the president backtracked. Y'all see cabinet members and associates and advisors to the president are dropping out like flies. Some people may say, well, you know, that happened in other administrations too. Okay. But I wonder, is it for the same reason as they dropping out for this president? You know, to endorse or to suggest that bigotry is okay in any way, shape, or form is sick, it's demonic, and it's evil. Period. Ain't no explanation about that. It's evil. It's disgusting. It's something that we should be ashamed of if we are advocating that. And let me say this, if we ain't speaking up, if we ain't speaking out, if we are, listen, the Bible says be angry and sin not, right? That's what the good books say, right? We got a right to be angry. There's some times where you need to be angry. Whatever. Being passive or passivity, whatever I'm saying, is not appropriate at this time. It's not what we need to be doing. It's time to be aggressive. It's time to plan. It's time to organize. It's time to unite and speak against the atrocities and the evils against this ancient devil. It's an evil and it's a spirit and it's demonic. This does not represent America, land of the free, home of the brave. I think about some of the comments that our president made. I think about some of the comments that he made before he got elected. See, you know what? But I remember in the election. I remember when he got elected, and I said, and he's, you know, make America great again, and all this stuff. Great. Let me say this: greatness is greatness. Period. So making America great again. When did America stop being great in their eyes? in your eyes, you may be listening to. When did America stop being great? When did it stop being great? You got enough courage to say, when did America stop being great? Maybe in your eyes is when it abolished slavery. Or when black mothers will be pregnant and they get their stomach gutted open and their babies fall out on the ground. Or they lynch a black man for no reason, for looking at them eye to eye. When was America great? Answer that question. This the Lions Den podcast. And you know the thing about it is, I'm okay with losing people that say they so-called my friends. You ain't really my friend if I share with you an injustice that I'm speaking out against, and because you don't like it, you gonna detach yourself from me. You wasn't my friend to begin with. And frankly, I don't want friends like that. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot that we need to deal with. As a nation, as a people, thank God for pastors like Rob Parsley. Thank God for pastors like Rob Parsley. World Harvest Church, Columbus, Ohio. A man who, by prayer, standing tall against cancer and have overcome it, still holding up what my grandmother would say, the blood-stained banner of the gospel. Thank God for men like Rob Parsley, who would speak out against the atrocities, against the evils, against the things that need to be spoken out against. And I wish I had his quote. I'll pull it up on the next podcast, and I'll let y'all hear it. I'll play it for y'all. This man represents the gospel message. No human being, part of his quote was, no human being is superior over another. And you know, it's interesting because, you know, I parallel the NFL to these preachers, to a lot of these gospel preachers, a lot of these preachers. And I can say it because my pedigree is pastoral. I come from a family of pastors. All right. I myself am a pastor and a shepherd. I oversee an organization. I oversee a ministry. All right. So listen, hear me out on this. I challenge all pastors, man, especially Caucasian pastors. If you're for righteousness, if you're for truth, if you're against injustice and against evils, you should be against all evils. The same way you speak out against fornication and adultery and incest and rape and lying and cheating and not paying your tithes and offers, you should be as vehement as speaking out against racism, against injustice, against bigotry. And you know what? I've heard, there's so many other I made a post about Rob Parsley, and I said thank you for pastor like Pastor Rob Parsley. And I've heard others have made statements. I know what I've heard. I've heard two white pastors that came against it like a bloodhound dog and growled against it. Like, yo, this is not cool. Some of us that's in churches, we need to speak out. We so passionate about one sin, but we ain't passionate about the whole gospel. What's going on? Or do we really have the gospel? Do we really? And it comes to this question, do we really have the fullness of God's love inside of us? Man, you can go to John chapter 14. I believe it's John chapter 14. This commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I loved you. That's fundamental Christian ethics, fundamental Christianity, love. And all we seeing in this day and time is everything else other than what Jesus left on record for us to do. Not Paul, not Peter, not the rest of the apostles, and all of the other passages of scripture that we should be adhering by, that we should follow by. But my Bible says Jesus is the head of the corner and is the head of the church. He's the foundation. We have to align ourselves with what he said first. His commission is first and foremost. love God, love people, go and destroy the works of the devil. Are we doing that? See, you know what I think it is? This whole thing, the reason why we don't got a lot of Christians speaking out, the reason why we don't got a lot of Christians vehemently against it is because our hearts ain't planted in love, man. It's planted in a form of godliness, a form of righteousness that's our pet baby. But see, the foundation of our salvation being based on love is the heartbeat of everything else that we say that we believe. And if we're not getting this right, how you going to build on something else other than what Christ left us to do? I'm talking to believers. I'm talking to Christians. If you ain't a Christian, this don't apply to you. I'm going to get to y'all. I'm going to get to y'all non-believers, and we love y'all too. I'm going to get to y'all in a minute. But I feel that the thermometer of the world is based on what the church does or does not do. What the church tolerates and does not tolerate. We can't be partial with our sin. We were so vehement to come against the homosexual. So vehement to come against same-sex marriage. Where's your same vigor at? Unrighteousness is unrighteousness, period. Evil is evil, period. It ain't no sections of evil. If it's unrighteousness, it's unrighteousness, period. But it ain't the passion of y'all, because Jesus don't, a lot of us, and listen, I ain't judging. Hey, you say you got it, go ahead with it. But let me tell you, I'm looking at the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Is Jesus really sitting on the throne of our heart? Or do we got this Western concept of what Christianity is, adopted from our Western beliefs, ideologies, and perversions, and we've made it into Christianity? Man, I'm going to deal with it the way I feel like I need to deal with it. You don't like it, turn me off. It's as simple as that. See, one thing about me is that I'm gonna give you raw and uncut. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything anymore. Well, I ain't that type of person anyway. I ain't sugarcoat nothing. But where's our vehement attitude towards racism? And, oh, brother, we gotta show love. That's without saying. We know we gotta show love. That should be foundational. That should be something that should be coming from our heart anyway. And I'm not indicating that we should hate the bigot, hate the racist, hate the Nazi, hate the white supremacist. That ain't gonna solve nothing. We don't battle hate with hate. Dr. King talked about that. Oh, we already know that. That goes without saying. I'm talking about believers. I'm talking to believers. So what are we doing as believers? Sitting up in church every Sunday? Clapping our hands every Sunday? What are we doing to change it? If you ain't part of the change, you're part of the problem. What are you doing to change it? Are we having discussions? Are we having home group meetings about it? Are we dealing with the uncomfortable topics that we need to talk about? And pastors and leaders, let me say something. We need to get together. We need to have seminars. We need to have sit downs. We need to have discussion panels. And we need to get irritable in our flesh and talk about things that's been a cliche topic, or a topic that we haven't discussed or talked about or dealt with. Put off our high horse and our notoriety and come down to the local pastor, to the local person, or wherever you are, local person. Stop looking up high with piety and envy and arrogance towards the other pastor who's made it, whose church is bigger than you or larger than you. And let's come together and get this devil out of this country, out of this world. Period. If we ain't ready to do that, you need to question your Christianity. This is the Lions Den podcast. Now listen. Bigotry on any level should be unacceptable. Period. A young lady was killed. And you mean to tell me, Mr. President, that you don't have in you the ability to say bigotry and racism and evils like this I will not tolerate, and I do not need your endorsement, racist, Nazi, white supremacist. I do not need your endorsement. I will not accept your endorsement as president of the United States. This is a land of freedom and justice for all. You ain't got the guts to say that? Come on, man. You're showing your true colors. And you know what? We want to excuse everybody else. Why we didn't excuse Barack? So, in our hearts, and what we believe about Barack, and what we believe about Donald Trump, is that Donald Trump is more superior than Barack Obama. So we okay with praying for Donald Trump, but we have to fight and grit our teeth to pray for Barack Obama. Why? Oh, because it's a political issue, brother. Yeah, okay. Get out of here with that trash. We partial and we're perverted in our beliefs. We don't have what we say we have. And let me say this. I've said this before. If I truly got what I say I got on the inside of me, and I believe with all of the reality that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and I truly believe that his power is real and working inside of me, I ain't intimidated by no racist. I ain't intimidated by no Muslim growing up next to me. I ain't intimidated by no Satanist growing up next to me, because I got what I really say I got. Or is you just like what we call the radical Muslim, who only want Muslims around? You know, it's interesting. We never hear conversations, thorough intellectual conversations about Christians comfortable with Muslims. If we got what we say we got, why are we intimidated? If a Muslim is next to us or a Muslim on the next to us, why are we intimidated? Christ went through it. Paul went through it. They knew they were going to face opposition. There were other religions coming up. But the Bible declares, and it shows all through action, all throughout the Gospels, that Jesus, Paul, and other apostles, other leaders, rose above all of the atrocities, challenges, and situations of their day. Why were they able to rise above it? And we don't want to even be in the same ring as them people, because we don't got what we say we got. That's why. We're cowards. We're afraid. And we won't even talk about being ready to lose our life for what we believe, for the sake of the gospel. We don't even talk about that. I remember my father told me, he said, I was a young boy at this time. I was 21 years old. My father, we was sitting on the porch. My father said to me, he said, let me tell you something. He said, if you call yourself wanting to follow in the footsteps of me and preach this gospel, he said, you ain't worthy enough to preach it if you ain't willing to die for it. I don't know the last time I heard a message or heard anything convicting like that in all my life. And that type of message and that type of sound is a dying breed, because everybody want to be liked. Everybody want to follow me on Facebook and follow me on social media. Nobody willing to die for this thing. Who willing to die for it? You want to die for what you believe? Are you willing to die for what you believe? Are you willing to face the fact that although we fight, although we stand, although we march, although we do whatever we feel like we're called to do to speak against and to stand against the atrocities of our nation? Are we willing to accept the fact that our generation may not never see it? We may not never see the progress that we've made. Are we okay with that? Are we okay? We're willing to lay down our lives for our kids and for our kids' kids so that they can live a better way in equality. Are we willing to do that? Or we just want to be seen? We want everybody to see our ministry, our cause. Paul said, I die daily. Paul said, I die daily. That's what Paul said. Paul said, I die daily. So basically, in Paul's eyes, if I go physically today, it don't make no difference to me, because I've been dying daily every day. So that the gospel can be promoted. I'm dealing with us as believers right now. How about that? I'm dealing with us as believers. I call myself, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. I respect all religions. I respect all beliefs. You believe what you want to believe. I can't control what you believe. If you believe listen, man, listen. Who am I to tell you that abortion is evil or wrong? Now, I know what I believe. I know what I'm against. I know what I'm not going to be for. But who am I to tell you that you should follow in my footsteps? If my conviction is so strong, then my life should be an example to you that should be open to convict you enough to want to change. But me forcing myself on you or me forcing the way I believe on you is crazy. That's why I don't believe that no organization, no sect should be forcibly, vehemently pushing the agenda for another, whether it be society or a particular organization or a certain sect of society. Nobody should be forcing anybody to accept anybody. It should be, listen, if that's the way that you want to live, that's the way that you want to live. And let me say this. I'm going to say this piece. I don't got nothing against gays. I don't got nothing against homosexuals. I don't got nothing against transgenders. You live the way you want to live. Do what you want to do. But don't force me to accept your lifestyle. Just like I'm not going to force my lifestyle and my belief on you. See, when I got to force my belief and my lifestyle on you, I ain't got what I say I got. I don't believe in it enough. I really don't believe in it with true conviction from the heart like I say I do. I'm insecure in that. But if I truly believe in what I say I believe, I can walk in the store and somebody goes, man, there's something different about that. Man, what's going on with you? What you do? How you do? Man, I don't know. You're just a different type of guy, man. You're a different type of cat, man. What's going on with you? They don't see the difference. If you want to be gay, be gay. If you want to be homosexual, you want to be transgender, be transgender. But I don't got to accept it. I don't got to accept it in my life, in what I do, in me, my four and no more. I don't got to rock with it. But why should what I rock with or what I don't rock with bother you? Just like I shouldn't be bothered by people not accepting my Jesus, my salvation, my Christ likeness, me every day trying to live and follow the teachings of Jesus and the scriptures. I should not force that on anybody, but I have a right. I have a right to preach it. I have a right to share it. I have a right to expound on it, just like you got a right to live the way you want to live. And I just use that as an example. So transgenders, gays, don't come for me. I ain't got no beef with y'all, man. Godspeed, man. But there needs to be we need to be able to create out of all of this trash going on. We ought to be able to create sensible commonality among us as being human beings, as being people on this planet. See, when we begin to ignore inhumane acts, we become animalistic. When we begin to ignore inhumane acts, when we begin to promote violence and evil and destruction and begin to say vile things about somebody who is a fellow human being, we are desensitizing ourselves and we become animalistic. Hate don't never cure hate. Violence never cures violence. Evil never cures evil. But us as Christians, man, we always speaking out against what we don't believe in, what we this and that. And, I remember when Barack was in office, he evil, he the Antichrist. Man, I done heard so much stuff. Yo, why is the church silent now? Why are we silent? It's like 3% of the church is speaking out against these evils. Why? Is that okay? See, where you're silenced at, that's what you agree with. When you silent, you have chosen to agree with what's going on. When you are silent, you choose to agree with what is going on. And I know that rubs some people the wrong way. It is what it is. Listen, we got storms to go through. We got things we need to deal with. But we got to do just that. Go through the storm. Go through the storm. Walk through it. It's time for us to step it up, man. We got to step it up. We got to step it up. Now listen, I'm going to change lanes. I'm going to switch lanes, man. A little bit. I'm very proud of these athletes speaking out. I'm very proud of these athletes using a constitutional right to take a knee or to sit in light of the injustice and the bigotry and the atrocities that is going on that they do not agree with. And all of these athletes, whether it be LeBron James or Beast Mode or Colin Kaepernick, all of these individuals have expressed their respect for the armed forces and overall their love for this country. But they also have expressed them not agreeing with the bigotry and the injustice that is going on in our day. And you know what? They have a right to. Just like a lot of people said the people in Charlottesville, Virginia had a right to march. And there's a lot of people that want athletes to shut up. Don't mix politics with sports. When have politics ever been separated from sports? That is always, they've always been intermingled and intertwined. In the early days of the NFL, in the Jim Brown era, in the Muhammad Ali era, in the Bill Russell era, they've always been intertwined. And they've had to. Because we as Americans love to be entertained. And if you're entertained on one spectrum, on one side of the spectrum, where there's equality and injustice, then it is imperative that people who are sick, who are categorized as being segregated or injustice is being imputed on to speak out. I think about the issue with Jackie Robinson and all that Jackie Robinson went through. I think about the atrocities of those days. And you look at baseball now, thriving. A startling statistic that I didn't realize is almost 80% of the NFL is African American. Now I know, Dodo is me, throw whatever. But I knew there were a lot of black athletes, but I didn't know it was almost 80%. I didn't know it was in the mid 70s. And that's why I salute to the highest regard. In spite of, listen, I don't agree with everything LeVar Ball says. But let's look at the facts. Let's look at the facts. And I've talked about this before. Raised 3 boys, married to the same woman for years. Raised 3 boys. 3 boys. These 3 boys ain't never been in trouble with the law. These 3 boys ain't never had no issues. These 3 boys, as far as we know, ain't got no kids out of wedlock. These 3 boys, exceptional basketball players. These 3 boys, phenomenal at being sons and respectful to their father. And let me deal with that for a second. Because we live in a society to where there is an onslaught of emasculating going on. And I've heard and I've been in conversations to where I've heard, I'm going to get back to the LeVar Ball thing in a second. Oh, I want a good man. I want a strong man. I want a mighty man. I want a man that do this. But the proof is in the pudding. When you find a strong man that got a backbone, that have a vision, that know where he's going in life and know where his destination is, a lot of women don't want to deal with that. A lot of women want a man that they can push buttons on and control and do their bidding. But that ain't, if we look at the origin of man, and listen, this is no indictment against women. This is no indictment against women. Women are the backbone in the very fabric of our society, especially African American women. But God, listen, God's way, God's order is that the woman is called to assist, to be a great aid and an assistance in the leading of male leadership. I didn't make that up. That's God's way. If you got a problem with it, go see him. Don't call me or text me. That's God's way. But you know what? Society wants a figurehead in the house. They want a figurehead, and it shows with TV. The man is acting like the dodo bird. You know, my son asked me a little while ago. He said, "Hey, why is it that all of the shows on TV that show the man married to the husband show the man as being stupid and being slapped around and being pulled around by the women?" Now, this is my son. He's 11 years old. He asking this question. That's a problem. That is an atrocity. That's an issue. We called to lead as men. We're called to be front runners as men. We're called to be on the front lines as men. That's what leadership means. Leadership in men and in malehood doesn't mean I lord over a woman. It don't mean that. So if that's your mindset for the way that what a leader is in a man and a man having a backbone, you got the wrong perception. Leadership in a man means he the first in battle. He take the bullet for his family. He's the provider for his family. If he needs assistance or if his job the woman comes to aid and help. A woman is so creative and so powerful and so majestic and so authentic that she can take beans out of a can and make a full course meal. A man can't do that. Us as men, we're the ones that lead the charge in the revolt, in the revolution, in the change that's supposed to bring about reformation in this country, in our local churches. We lead. And yes, God has called women to lead in certain factions too. But the scripture says, for God did not make the woman for the man. For God did not make the man for the woman, but God made the woman for the man. That's the Holy Bible. God's way is God's order. And when we honor God and God's order and submit to his way and get his mind, see, you know what's happened? We've gotten a Western way. We've gotten this perverted Western way of how to do things. Who said that that's the absolute right way to do things? We've got this Western view of how marriage looks, of how relationships look, when we need to go and do our research and see, how did people make it for 70, 80 years and are blissfully happy? Something has changed in the fabric of our society to where women want to be in charge. Now listen here. I believe that if a woman does the same job as a man, she should get equal pay. There's no reason why she shouldn't get equal pay. And I'm against her being discriminated against as her having the same profession, same experience, and getting paid less pay. That is discriminatory, and I'm vehemently against that. But as it relates to men being called to lead, women have an aspect of leadership that is valuable and personified and is strengthening to the family structure. And her position is to uphold and to help and assist the man in his leadership, which makes her a leader too. Leadership means that man being the head means that I am first in responsibility. I am first in sacrifice. I am first in laying my life down. I am first at going to work. I am first to going out and fighting the devil. I am first to going out and fighting adversity. I'm first. I take on the battles first. That's what male leadership is. And if you have any other perversion, or any other mindset pertaining to what leadership is, my beloved, you got the wrong mindset. That ain't what leadership is. But we're called to rule and dominate in our respective areas. But a lot of us relationship-wise ain't ready. We're not ready. We're not ready for what we're asking for. A lot of women are not ready for what we're asking for. And a lot of guys are not ready to step up to the responsibility of being what you've been born to be. So it's both ways. So men got to step up. Men got to be responsible. We got to do what we're supposed to do and not shrink back. But women, if you're asking for a man that's a husband, that's a father, that's godly, that's doing what he's supposed to do, sometimes that's going to rub you the wrong way and you're not going to agree with him all the time. And all the good book asks you to do is not to agree all the time, but to support. That's my man. I'm going to stick to him. See, what happens is that y'all look at the physique first, and y'all look at if he driving a BMW, and y'all look at if he talks smooth, and and I'm going to deal with this. Listen, man, if y'all don't like it, y'all don't like it. A lot of women want to be gamed. They want to be gamed. They want to be gamed. They want a slick talker. Somebody to tell them something good so that they can see, because a lot of times women are infatuated with fantasy land. They want to engage and intermingle in fantasy land. They want to dream. They want to, and listen, there's nothing wrong with dreaming. There's nothing wrong with having, all these things. But listen, we have got to come to the place where our dreams are not our reality. Do you want a real man or not? Do you want a real man or do you want a boy? Do you want an irresponsible man or do you want a responsible man? And if you want a responsible man, if you want a leader, if you want a king, that's going to take you making some adjustments. Period. He ain't going to do what you want him to do all the time. He ain't going to buck to your beck and call all the time. He going to say no sometime. He going to say, yo, you need to chill out and be quiet. A real man, a king, I ain't talking about a simp. I ain't talking about a player. I ain't talking about a trick willing to pay you to do cartwheels and flips. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about that real. Are you ready for that or not? Women, are you ready for that or not? You say you are, but then you hear comments like, oh girl, you got him trained. Train what? So, but then when a dude do something out of character, that nigga ain't nothing but a dog. That's what we say. So, do you want a dog? Do you want somebody trained? Or do you, because if you're making insinuations, oh, you got him trained, we train dogs. We don't train humans. Humans are born to be empowered. Humans are born to accomplish great feats. Humans are born to evolve and to grow and to advance. So what do you want? Do you want a dog to do tricks? Roll over and play dead. Bark. Pay my bills. Get my hair done. Do y'all really want a real man? Or are you just playing? It sound good. See, I get it. It sound good. It sound good. It sound good when you talking about it. It sound good. it sounds like, oh yeah, I want a real man. Yeah, I want this and that. And you got this image in your head of Idris Elba. And shout out to Idris. Yo, listen, salute. Smooth is smooth, yo. Salute to Idris, man. I ain't got no qualms with Idris. But you don't know how Idris live. I'm just using him as an example. You don't know how these dudes live. You don't know what they doing. You don't test them. See, both men and women, we don't test the people that we want to date. We don't test them. All we do literally is we see what we like and that's it. But it got to go deeper than likes. 20 years from now, if you're married to that person, you still stuck on likes? Are you still stuck on how they look and how smooth they walk? It got to be more substance than that. You still stuck on, oh, he could blow my back out. Girl, he made me feel like this. Oh, my God, girl, I ain't never felt that. Come on. Is that all it is to the relationship? That's surface. That's surface. And we wonder why relationships ain't working. And 78% of relationships and marriages fail in divorce. Why? Are we looking at the wrong things? Is our perspective off? What is a real man in your eyes? What is a king in your eyes? What is quality as it relates to a man? What is quality as it relates to a woman? Our attribute, our perspective is totally off. Totally off. And we wondering why relationships is not working. Back to LeVar Ball. Told y'all I wasn't going to forget. It's the Lions Den podcast, baby. Back to LeVar Ball. You may not like his stance. You may not like him saying stay in your lane. Let me explain that. My perspective on stay in your lane. She is not the host of that show. She's the co-host of that show. He was speaking to the host of that show. The co-host, which was her, chimed in. He said to the co-host, because he was talking to the host, stay in your lane. Because I'm referring to the host who I'm talking to. So women took that and ran with it. But how many have interviewed him and asked him, hey, what you mean by that? Or you just satisfied with jumping to the conclusion that he meant something offensive to women? Now, mind you, he'd been married to this woman. He'd been married to this woman, I believe, almost 20 years. Ain't been no domestic violence. Ain't been no sign of verbal abuse. None of that. They seem like a happy home. Now, who am I? I don't live with them. But this man has been married with no reports of abuse at all. But you're willing to take something and run with it because of your perverted views on what you want to believe about a person. And you wonder why people look at you and view you the same way and judge you not based off of knowledge. This is the Lions Den podcast. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all, man. Whether you like it or not. Whether you believe it or not. Treat people how you want to be treated. And that includes LeVar too. Yeah, he need to watch his tone. Yeah, he need to watch how he come off. Yes, he does. But that don't excuse you from jumping to a conclusion without nobody even interviewing him, asking him about that. At least no interview that I know of. But some people have already signed up to hate this guy. And that's cool. I thank God for people. I'm so grateful for people like him. I'm so grateful for people like him that don't care what people feel about him. He's going to do and he's going to follow his heart. I'm so glad for people like that. That don't mean that they're perfect. That don't mean that they're getting everything right. It just means that his conviction precedes and overwhelms what anybody thinks about him. And that, my friends, is phenomenal. I love it. This is the Lions Den podcast, man. Listen. Listen up. Listen up, y'all. Listen up. We're at a critical time and place. Critical time and place in our lives. Critical. Very critical. This is a very critical time. And in some way, we have to find enough humanity in us. We have to find enough courage in us. Because, hate is easy. Bitterness is easy. But it takes a toll on you as a person and an individual. You know why? It destroys you inside. You begin to implode. You know why? Because we were never built to hate. We were never built to disconnect ourselves from other races or other ethnicities. If you lock a person in a room for a particular period of time with no food, no sunlight, no contact with human flesh, studies have been done that babies that does not have contact with any life form will die. Because we were made to interact. We were made to intergel. We were made to interconnect. We got to get it right, people. We got to get it right. And the change starts with us. So are we going to continue to gripe, complain, repost, retweet? Or are we going to be the change? Are we going to be the change that we want to see in the world? If you got a group or if you with the particular, sect or whatever, are you saying, yo, let's get together and write down some things that we could be about bringing change? You could do a Facebook Live video saying that you're vehemently against bigotry. You could do going to a homeless shelter and loving on homeless people. Or you could go down to find an orphanage in your city and go love on kids and tell them that you're special. That you're here for a reason, and it's not by accident that you're here. That you're here to bring a change. That you're here to do something that nobody else can do. That you're here to make a mark upon society. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about what you don't like to see? Because if you don't do anything about what you don't like to see, my friend, I have bad news for you. You are part of the problem. What change are we going to make? What decisions are we going to make? Are we going to continue to go in the same direction, wanting a different result? Well, friend, I got news for you. If we're going to go in the same direction, expecting different results, we are deceived. And the dictionary calls that insanity. And it's it is, my friends, quite laughable. Got to change our direction. Got to change the course of where we're going. How can we affect change right now? This is the Lions Den podcast. And listen, thank you to all my listeners. Thank you. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for everybody. Lions Den podcast. We'll be back soon. Don't forget to love somebody. Extend a helping hand.
I'm going on tour, and I'm going to show anybody out there that thinks for 1 second that maybe I'm second-guessing myself that I am the greatest of all time forever and ever.
Listen, y'all be good. We out. God bless.